Hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing all right. Can you hear me?
Man, I cannot hear you for some reason.
Oh, you cannot hear me?
Now I can. Now you're loud and clear. It was just really quiet. I couldn't hear you even with my ear right up to it.
Oh, sorry about that. Well, how y'all doing? Season Knowledge Podcast family. You know, it's the host of this wonderful, amazing, successful podcast, Seeking Knowledge. And I have a guest on. This guest is wonderful. He's a brand ambassador on the OWL app. That's how I met him, by the way, on the OWL app. And we just got to connecting and got to talking. And we came up with something that we all need to share. Like everybody need to work on their mind. And Mr. Brian is going to discuss with you why having a massive mindset can take you to the next year and the years to come to success. So how you doing today, Mr. Brian? I'm gonna be quiet. I just want you can introduce yourself. Like I already gave a little intro, but they need to know who you are, who Brian is, and what Brian is about.
Hey, thank you, DeMarcus. It's awesome to be here with you. And I'll tell you, it's awesome what you're doing to reach the masses and help them with their mindset because mindset is everything. It's really kind of your psychology, you might call it, or the hardware that you operate on. And I think it's something that most people don't realize. And what I would like to talk about even more today, more than mindset, is the decisions you make, because every day you have thousands of decisions, not only what you eat or what you wear or where you go, but it's how you think. It's how you process things. And to me, that's the most important piece of who you are, because that dictates where you go. How you think dictates how you view your past mistakes. Were they a failure or are you a failure? You see, I used to see myself as a failure, and I actually took failure as my own identity, so to speak, instead of seeing my failures as simply a step in the process. So if you go back to when you were a child and you think about even just learning how to walk, did you fall down a few times? We all did. I don't know a human that didn't fall trying to learn to walk. And yet, you didn't just succumb to failure and say, I guess I'm doomed to be a snake the rest of my life, or, maybe you learned how to crawl and you thought, well, I'm doomed to be a four-legged animal. I'm just going to crawl around and eat grass and bugs the rest of my life. No, you decided I'm going to learn to walk. I'm going to tower above most animals. I'm going to use my brain. I'm going to have my thought and reason, and I'm going to use it the rest of my life. And I think that's something that most of us don't think about when it comes to the simple area of failures. I used to take it on as my identity, and I would look at my past and say, well, I've never been successful at that, so why would I be any different now? And if you did that when you learned to walk, you'd probably still be crawling around or slithering on the floor. And so I think about that and how simple that example is, but yet how many of us, even as adults, live our life as if we're still trying to learn to walk. And I don't know about you, DeMarcus. I'd love to hear your feedback on that. But to me, the decisions you make every single day are one of the most important pieces to who you are and who you become.
Not the, I come on. I agree with you 100% because I say this all the time. Everything starts in the mind, and I tell people your mindset is shape your reality, creates your reality. So if you wake up every day and you put negative thoughts in your mindset, that's how you're gonna get the negative results. So if you put positive results in your mindset, you're gonna get positive results. Like that's not a scientific fact. That's a proven fact that your mindset plays a part in your day-to-day life, your choices you make. Like I feel like the mindset is so powerful, like because man, you can just think of something you want, and the universe will bring it to you. That's my and think about it, I say this the simplest thing when it comes to the mind, Mr. Brian. You gotta think of how to unlock a door, how to get out the front door. You gotta do you gotta take the latch off? Do you gotta unlock it? Do you gotta put your key in there to unlock it before you leave out? Like, so the mind is powerful. So I agree with everything you're saying. People need to start using their mindset to make the right choices, and maybe they'll get the outcome they want instead of living an insanity lifestyle. It's like I said, it all starts in the mind.
Well, and I agree with you. And I think that it comes down to day by day as we meet disaster or struggles or frustrations or anxieties and fears, whatever it may be, your approach to that and your decision to either move forward and keep stepping, so to speak, depends on how you view it. And I love to use the example of someone climbing a mountain. Like, let's say you see Mount Everest in the distance and you start climbing the foothills and you start, that slow to, ascent as you're climbing and climbing and climbing. You may get tired from time to time, but you have to stop each day, regroup, make camp, feed yourself, make sure you're hydrated, all these things. But yet when you reach the top of a little summit, and you look, it's like, wow, that's really big. And you look at the main mountain, you're like, I could never make up, but that's way too steep. That's way too big. That's way too high. All these different excuses you make. I'm wore out and I just climbed a tiny little hill. But you have a chance to regroup, refocus, regain your strength, take a break for a few hours if you need to, sit down and rest, but don't give up, don't stop. And I tell people that I coach, especially, that failure is not failure unless you decide that's as far as you're going. So your decision to stop is your greatest failure. You see, that's the only way you'll fail, because quitters never win and winners never quit. And I think that that's the key to life in general, is if you want to reach more than you've reached, if you want to be more than you've been, if you want to go places you've never, arrived or visited, then you have to do something you've never done. And I think that that's where people just want to give up. It's like, don't settle for average just because you've made it past where your neighbors went, or past where your friends went, or maybe past where your grandparents or your own parents went. Just because you're better than they were doesn't mean you should stop. If you haven't reached your full potential and you've gone all in, then you're not in it to win it. And I think that's one of the keys. You have to go all in. You can't just go in to exist, just like in a ball game, a football game, for example. You don't just show up to play just to say that you played in the Super Bowl. No, you play the Super Bowl to win the Super Bowl. And if you don't play to win, I can guarantee you one thing: you won't win.
I do agree. And I like how you touched on how people, because I say that all the time, everything starts in the mind. And people get they fail in their mind first, right? Because when they go through something in life, it's like they give up. And I say this all the time: you're not a failure if you fall. You're a failure when you fall and stay down there.
Yeah, you're a failure if you quit.
Yeah, most people fail in their mind first. That's why they keep getting the same results that they don't want. Man, like, so if you, I believe, Mr. Brown, you working on a course or something, because I know we spoke and you want to come and share some on the mindset that can help you get the success you want in 2004 and beyond. You want to touch on if you creating a course or anything, or is just a book or something? Because I know you're an author, by the way. You writing a book on this, or is just a course or something you working on? Because you very knowledgeable, my boy.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of things. I have a number of books. If they want to, they can go to Amazon and type in my name and search if they want to. If they want to find my books, they can look under the Ripple Effect Mindset. There's some other ones on there too, but the book I'm working on right now is called Steak for Your Soul, kind of like Chicken Soup for Your Soul, where they give you a lot of stories with a lot of great life principles in there. In this day and age, I don't want to have to read a bunch of long stories and try to figure out what the principle was and how to apply it to my life. We're in the, quote, microwave generation where everybody wants it yesterday, kind of like Amazon, next day shipping or same day or, hourly shipping, whatever it might be. We all want it yesterday. We order it and pay for it. We want it now. And it's kind of the same thing. And so this book is where I'm literally taking the principles and spelling them out, what they are and how to apply them to your lives. And then I can share stories and illustrations with you as to how that benefited the person. Because if you don't understand the principle and you're just trying to figure out what the principle was, most people don't have the time or even the dedication and discipline to read and study it. We live in a very distracted world and generation, so to speak, where information's at your fingertips, but why not have the principles that change your life, your mind, and your success right at your fingertips as well? And so that's a book I'm just about finished with. And one of the cool things I'm doing right now is I'm launching a Christian business mastermind where Christian business owners and entrepreneurs can get together, multiple times a month and brainstorm and strategize and help each other, because we all have different perspectives, different ideas, different thought processes, and we see things, including marketing, from different perspectives. And so if you're launching a marketing campaign for your company, your business, your product, service, whatever it might be, and if you could get feedback from other business owners, what that tells them, what that sends them, what's their message, what's their take, what's their impression, now you're getting incredible feedback, which big companies pay millions of dollars for. To get market research is incredibly expensive. In many cases, you have to waste millions of dollars. And so this saves you time and money, and you're getting very valuable feedback from other experts who would consider buying your product or service, but they need to see that correct marketing in place. And they're going to help you with that. And so that's one of the big keys. And we're going to mix scripture and business so that you can understand, not just as a business, human mastermind, but we want to study the master's mind and what he thinks of life and business and his principles, like the golden rule, sowing and reaping, giving and receiving. All these things come into effect. And if you don't understand them, and it's kind of like gravity. You don't have to believe in gravity, but if you jump off a cliff, I can about guarantee you're not going up. Unless you got some other force of nature or against nature to try to, take you up. Without anything else, you're going down. It's just a given. You don't have to believe in gravity, but when you hit the sudden stop, you'll probably believe in gravity, because I can tell you, you're going down. That's how gravity works. And it's the same with the other laws of the universe. You don't have to believe in them. You don't even have to know they're there. But if you jump off a cliff, you're still going to go, and you're still going to be affected by those laws of the universe. And I think that's important to understand. If you don't work with the laws of the universe and what's in place, then you're just going to continue to fight it and struggle and wonder why you can't get ahead. And I think that's the important piece in your mind, is being willing to learn. And I think if you don't have a learning mindset to where you're willing to learn and collaborate and work with and brainstorm, so to speak, with other people of like mind, like faith, whatever, then you're probably not going to grow very fast, and you're probably going to become pretty stagnant where you're at, and you may end up settling for average, which I hate to say, but that's kind of like failure.
And I agree with you. And I just like, it's as you speaking, I'm just listening, because it's the mindset is very important. And I tell people, as long as you vibe high in your mind, you're going to connect with the right people that's vibing high, because y'all brain is on the same frequency. That's why I say the mindset is deeper than just what people just speak on, because you got brain waves, the frequency. Like if you stay aligned mentally, you guarantee to see success. You guarantee to connect with the right people. Like since I got to tap into the OWL app, like I know it's like a lot of coaches on there, a lot of transformational coaches and mindset coaches, but I throw that in there to just say like, that's what my frequency is, because it's like every time I click on the OWL app, whatever I think of or whoever I need to speak to, it's like soon I click on that app, it's like the person is right there, like, because I'm getting my mind again. That's why every day I wake up and I make sure my mindset is, because mental health, mindset, that's very important. Like, because if you don't got your mindset together, you'll start creating some mental problems. So that's why I like to keep the right things in my mindset. And it's just funny about this book I read, and I'm gonna read it again, by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. Like, just reading that book, man, it's just like the stories he was sharing, like about Henry Ford, and like how he wasn't really the smartest, but he was a thought creator. Like he put thoughts together in his head. Like if anybody can use their mindset to create ideas, man, they are genius. And I tell people all this, and I'm turning back over to you, Mr. Brian. I tell people this all the time. Stop chasing the bag, but chase the ideas you create in your mind. And you're going to see the success you want to see. You're going to see the success, I guarantee you.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Think and Grow Rich book was probably one of the most influential early books I read in my self-development journey, and really helped me to understand the power of mentorship and thinking and, pondering, reasoning through things and using the power of ideas. But that's one of the things most people who read that book miss. The most important key is masterminding. And he said that is what made Henry Ford rich and so successful, is the power of the mastermind. He didn't have to know everything or how to do everything himself. He just had to be connected to the right people that knew how to do it. Just like I don't have to be a mechanic to drive a car. I just have to know or have a mechanic to maintain and fix my car when it breaks down. I don't have to be, an electrician to utilize and enjoy the benefits of electricity. But yet I know electricians, so they can come fix it if I have a problem. And there's so many other examples. But I think that you hit the nail on the head there. When you have ideas, it's great to have ideas, and you're going to basically die on the vine, so to speak, without ideas, without a vision. It says the people fail. But with a vision, with ideas, and with growth and strategies, the world is your oyster, so to speak. The world's a gold mine. It's just a matter of how do you do it? What do you put into place to capture that? And I think that, there's so many ways you could use a mastermind. For me personally, I've been hosting masterminds for almost 5 years now, and they're life changing.
That's congratulations. You mentioned that because I've been speaking to some people on and off the OWL app, because, my first book is titled From the Hood to the Church. And I've been speaking on some people who I'm going to turn my first book to a course. But I spoke to somebody on the out app, and they gave me some tips like before you create a course, you gotta know what the people want, but number two, and first and foremost, you gotta test it for yourself. Then you gotta know if you want it to be 6 weeks, 12 weeks, 18 weeks. So you gotta test anything. And I'm thinking like my first book is called From the Hood to the Church, but I don't want to title it that because I'm gonna use it as a concept. So I came up with Overcoming Obstacles. So and me mentioning all these ideas started in my mind. That's why I say people, y'all need to listen. The mindset is something you don't want to waste. The mindset is something you want to utilize. I don't know if I said that word fit right in there, but the mindset is something you want to tap in and use because, man, you can think your way into poverty or you can think your way to success with your mindset.
Absolutely. And, the title of your book is awesome. And I remember we've had a couple discussions on the Owl Lab about it, but you just mentioning that and wanting to create a course, I came up with two ideas just now in my head that may be worth even you having this podcast, because think about it. You could go from doubt to belief as the title of your course, or you could go from failure to faith. Either one is going to take you down the journey because a lot of people struggle with doubts and failures and thinking they're not good enough, their limiting beliefs and all these things that, pretty much plague all of us from time to time. The people that reach massive success have just learned how to deal with the struggles. They've learned how to overcome them and be victorious. They learn how to have faith and hope and perseverance and discipline through all those tough times, the long nights, the early mornings, the doing the things that nobody else sees behind the scenes. That's what makes these people a massive success. It's not the tiny tip of the iceberg that you see them peaking above success. No, it's the massive amount of behind the scenes that makes them successful. It's the struggles, the late nights, the perseverance, the learning, and persevering through all those struggles. That's what makes them successful. And the names I just gave you could be a powerful course, from doubt to belief or even from failure to faith could be a very powerful course, because you think about how many people struggle with failures and they want to have the faith or the belief in themselves that they could move forward.
Oh, I like that, because actually speaking, I wrote that down, because from failure to faith. I like that.
You can also go from doubt to belief too. It could be the same thing.
Oh, I like that. That's why, man, I love it, because people need to know, man, like I said, the mindset, man, like you can create the life you want. Like, man, I like meditation. I do a lot of meditation, right?
Yep.
And like when I meditate, like I don't even lie. Like, if some people say meditate, like it's different ways to meditate. You can meditate just in silence. You can meditate when you sleep.
Yep, you can.
Yeah, I tell people meditation.
And
go ahead.
This example of just you and I, even just talking, you mentioning your book title and the idea of creating a course, and now immediately that sparks ideas in my mind. That just immediately shows you the power of a mastermind. But there's only two of us. Imagine if there was 10 or 15 or 20 of us, and how powerful sharing an idea or a concept of something that you're thinking about doing. Now you share your idea, and other brilliant people who are a part of that conversation can now share their ideas and what that brings to them, the ideas that sparks. And now it can help give you ideas and clarity on things that you want to do. I mean, how powerful is that? And that's just a matter of two of us in a matter of 5 minutes. Imagine if you had an hour every week, or even an hour every month to sit down with numerous experts. That's the power of a mastermind. And that's where so many business owners are not reaching their full potential. They're literally settling for average or just getting by because they don't know what to do next. They're just struggling to keep afloat, trying to pay the bills, trying to find a few more customers, run another marketing campaign. That's all they're trying to do, is just find the next customer. They're not looking for ways to dominate their marketplace, to be the global authority in their field, and that's the difference. Because if you're not, then you're just going to be average. You're just going to be another one trying to get your hand out of the pile, so to speak, trying to get some kind of notification or notice. To get people to notice you. You want to stand out. Well, this is how you stand out. You become the authority. And you think about leadership. There's a lot of great people talk about leadership, but when you think about leadership, there is one name comes to mind. There's only one global authority on leadership. He's written 88 books on leadership, and it's one of my friends and mentors, John C. Maxwell. Most people don't realize that when you talk leadership, he is the global authority on leadership. There is no question.
Why I know you were finna mention him, because as we speaking, I got one of his books, the 12 Infallible Laws of Leadership.
Yep.
Man, like I read that book, and it's like, and he even mentioned in the book, some of y'all already know these laws, these leaderships. Y'all already know them, but are y'all applying them? And
Yep.
when I'm just reading them, and John C. Maxwell, when I say he teach his books, or if a child can understand where he break these books, right, where his book is broken down.
Yep. And the powerful thing is, he doesn't really do this anymore. He's up in his, I think, 80s now, if I remember right, or maybe he's 78. I forget his age. He was telling me last week or so. But, you know, one of the things that's crazy is he doesn't mentor anymore, but he took me and 49 other people under his wing to mentor us for a year. And that's a powerful opportunity, but that just shows you the power of impact and leadership. He's doing it not because he needs to. He doesn't need the money. He doesn't need, you know, the fame, so to speak, but he's doing it because he believes in leaving an impact on the world and impacting other people in their lives. And I think that that's one of the things we have to do and focus on in our life and business is serving others. Serve, not for the money you can make, but to help them make an impact. And if you can help them win and help them be a success, it's a killer, because it's not about I win, you win. It's about you win, I win. If you can help your clients or your customers.
See, we lost it right there. But speaking of losing, if you lose lost in life, or you think you can't overcome nothing in life, this is what I want you to do right now. I want you to click on Amazon, put my name in, DeMarcus David Brewster, or put it in front of the hood to the church, and get that book, read the reviews, and I guarantee anything you go through in life and you can overcome it, you can. Just read my book. I overcame molestation, drug use, fucked up foster care experience, messed up foster care experience, so you can overcome anything you face in life. But speaking on this mindset to master success, this is season 13, episode 31. I got my good friend Brian on. He'll be right back, but I'm gonna keep it going. But yeah,
I'm here, I believe.
And he's back. The mindset is an important tool you need to be successful in 2024 and beyond. And Mr. Brian is back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back.
No, there's so much power in what you say, though. And it's not just the decisions you make in your head and in your mind. Yes, your mindset is probably the number one battlefield that we all face. But think about what you say to yourself, too. If you're constantly, which is another decision, to say things to yourself means you're also thinking it. And so if you're thinking it and saying it to yourself, that's just doubling down on stupid, so to speak. You know, one of the funny things, DeMarcus, that I find so many of my clients don't realize they are making a decision to settle for average by not making a decision to move forward. And it's what I call a next step mindset, which is actually the name of my business. But most people don't realize they don't have a next step mindset. They simply say, you know, what do I got to do to exist today? What do I got to do to survive? They're not looking for what do I have to do to succeed, to be number one, to be the global authority in my, you know, product, service, industry, profession, whatever it might be. But yet they are constantly telling themselves, oh, you can't do it. Nobody's ever done it. You know, there's no way to do it. Think about the Wright brothers and try to develop the airplane. We all fly and enjoy the privileges of flying, but it had never been done before. What if they would have succumbed to average and say, well, nobody's ever done this before. There's no point in us trying. You know, we tried 3 times and it just crashed and failed and I almost broke my leg. You know, I don't think man is meant to fly. We might as well just give up on that idea. No, they didn't give up. They kept going. They kept pursuing. They kept failing until they found a way. Think about the light bulb or any of the other incredible inventions we have, like electricity. Those things would not be possible if somebody wouldn't have persisted past all the failures, thousands of attempts that failed, and yet they made it through to make a burning light bulb that lights our rooms. You know, you flip a switch and on it comes. You know, it's not like you had to go find a match and, you know, get some kerosene or something and make a candle or whatever. No, you can literally flip a switch and you've got light instantaneously. And I think that that's where, you know, your mind is your greatest limitation or your greatest asset. depending on how you use it. And if you fail to make a decision, you are making a decision not to make a decision, or you're making a decision to settle for average. And most people don't realize, they're like, well, I'm just going to procrastinate. I'll make that decision tomorrow, or I'll decide that next week, or I'll look at that and decide what I'm going to do next year. No, you have to decide now. And if you don't decide now, then you're making a decision not to decide, which is meaning you're making a subconscious decision that you would rather live in failure and live at average, basically struggling to exist or survive, instead of making a decision to thrive, to be your global authority, to be the top you can. If you're not going to make that decision and move forward every single day with that next step mindset, you see, if you're climbing a stairway, you got to take it one step at a time. You can't stop in the middle and go, hey, I can see down from here. This is good. Dude, you're only 3 steps up. You got 15 more to go just to get to the next level. And there's 45 more levels in this building. You're not at the top of the building yet. But yet, how many of us start up the stairway and we give up? Well, I can see I'm above the crowd. Yeah, you're above the crowd, but not very much.
Oh, I like that. I like that example, how you said it, like the stairway, because in your mind, you got to take a step at a time to level your mind up. So when I mean take a step at a time, here's where I'm going. I mean, you got to listen to the right audio over and over and over. You got to read the right book over and over and over, over and over. And I like how you touched on the story of the Wright brothers, because every time I read their story, because I like reading a lot too. When I do read, I like reading. And me reading their story, like, it's like they family doubted them, like, and that's a family that everybody doubted them. And just to see how they eventually caused effect, like how it triggered and it came to play. Because think about how they started. They didn't have the technology that we have today, but just 2 brothers coming together, using their mindset, using their thoughts, using the creative thoughts in their head, and like, you know what? No matter how many times we fail or this is going to work, it's going to succeed because we're not going to give up. And like, I want to say this: a lot of people fail also in life because they already made the decision in their mindset to give up. Yeah. Once you make the decision in the mind to give up, the Wright brothers, they didn't give up. They said, you know what? No. We're going to catch this flight today some kind of way.
And you nailed it right there, because what you are telling yourself and what you believe in your mind, your limiting beliefs are what can either make you or break you, so to speak. And there's a quote out there, and I may not quote it verbatim, but it's basically, if you believe you can, you're right. And if you believe you can't, you're right. Because whatever you honestly believe within the sub-core of your person, your inner being, your soul, basically, is what you believe. And if you don't believe you can do it, then you can't, because you're right. You can't because you don't believe you can. But if you absolutely believe you can, it doesn't matter how many people oppose you and say, you can't do that. There's no way. Whether it's building the airplane or building the ark. You think about Noah. He had quite the feat. It took him, 150 years or something to build the ark, and yet he saved humanity, because he had this idea that God gave him and gave him the exact specs to build the ark. But yet only 7 people besides Noah believed in his mission and what he was doing and actually helped him, and they were saved. The rest of the world said, nah, you're full of baloney. It ain't never even rained. What are you talking about? This world ain't going to flood. And yet it did. And they died. They lived to regret it, so to speak. They died because of their lack of belief. How many people do we know that are dying because of their lack of belief in themselves, much less anyone else?
Well, I know you was finna go there, because as you were speaking, I was thinking, like, because look at say the power of the mind. I was finna go there. A lot of them people, like, and that's how a lot of people are. They got people are around you like that with limit belief, and they will cause your business and your entrepreneurship to drown if you don't get from around them. And this can be people in your family. It can be people you connected with right now. As y'all listen, people connected with right now don't belong there. Yeah, they ain't out on the same frequency. But man, it's just like the mindset, man. Like I said, you can think with the mindset, you can think your way into poverty, or you can think your way to success.
Absolutely. The mindset, man, absolutely true. And I think that it's so powerful when you think about the power of your mind and your belief system. And one of the things you have to realize is God doesn't give your ideas and visions to everyone around you. Your family may not see what you saw. They may not have the idea or understand what you see and what you believe is possible. But that's okay. God's not calling them to that. he didn't call them to do what he's calling you to do. And so therefore, I think it's important that we realize they may not see it. They may not have the idea or even the disciplines and the ability to do what we're called to do. But if we do it, then we are capable of it. But here's the problem. So many of us listen to the broke people and take our advice from the broke or the average instead of listening to the people who inspire us. It's your choice where you're going to get your inspiration. Where are you taking counsel? Who are you listening to? Because if you're listening to the broke and the average, you're probably going to stay broke and average. But if you're listening to those who have attained and reached success, they've taken the time and the discipline, they've moved forward and past all the low life, average, limiting belief type people. They step forward, they step out, they raise the bar, and they don't take their advice. They don't listen to them. They might sit there and listen out of courtesy, but they're not taking it to heart and going, yeah, you know what? You're probably right. I probably can't do that. No, they don't take it to heart. They take it to heart as, you know what? It's all right. You can have that limiting belief you like. God didn't call you to do this. He called me to do this, and I'm not asking you to help me. So obviously you're not going to believe in it. So adios. You just showed me which side of the fence you're on. See you later. Good luck to you in your average life. Help yourself, but I'm going forward.
Man, that's beautiful, man. Like, just you sharing this, man, it's like giving me ideas, like, cause I didn't put this together. The online course, it's like I said, that's what I'm telling y'all. See, the mindset is beautiful. So it's gonna be called From Faith to Faith While Having Doubt.
Yep. And you know what's crazy is the more you surround yourself with people like this who can stimulate thought and belief and inspire you to be better, think higher, dream bigger, work harder, be more disciplined. Those are the people you want to hang around as much as possible. And you can't pay too much to be in their presence. Why? Because it helps stretch you and grow you, and it makes you become a bigger, better, more valuable person to everybody around you. Your sphere is going to be enlightened, and people are going to want to be in your presence. They're going to want to hang out with you. They're going to want you to invest in them. So if you're not willing to invest in yourself, why would anybody else invest in you? And that's one of the powerful things that so many people have taught me. And I'll leave you with this idea too, DeMarcus, that one of my mentors who totally changed my view of mentorship, he said, imagine that it was possible that every human being could make $1 million a year. And I said, okay, that could be possible. He said, well, do you think that anybody could if they had the right business, the right idea, the right product service? I said, yeah, anybody could make $1 million a year. There's more than enough money out there that anybody who really wanted to had the best idea, the best product or service. Of course, they could make not only millions, but billions of dollars a year. He said, okay. So if you could make $1 million a year, he said, what did you make last year? And at that point I was less than 100,000 a year. And I said, okay, just under 100,000. He says, so you realize, he said, how much did you pay your mentor? I said, nothing. I don't have one this past year. He said, so in other words, it costs you $900,000 not to have a mentor. And I had never seen it that way, that if I'm not living up to my potential, it's costing me not to live up to my potential. So if your potential is only $1 million a year and you're not paying a mentor, even if your mentor was $25,000 a year or whatever it cost you, it cost me $900,000 not to pay the $25,000. Does that make sense?
A lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. And I can tell you was mentored by some great people. Like this, I heard Jim Rohn. I probably heard Jim Rohn say it, John Maxwell, Zig Ziglar.
Yeah.
Another great said it make a lot of sense, man. And Mr. Brian.
Let me tell you this: change your verbiage on it. It doesn't make sense. It makes dollars.
Make dollars, yeah, I do. Yeah, money, it don't make sense. Yeah, that's how I think, man. This has been such an amazing conversation, man. Like, and I didn't want to say this because I don't have an average thinking no more. Cause I look, I ain't gonna lie, cause I tap into the OWL app, like, and what I mean, I tap into it. Like, I've been on this app. I mean actresses. I mean people that's giving me, like, I forgot her name, Coach Diaz. Like, she's very good at what she do. Like, she gave me some gems, like, for free, and like, she, like, I use charge people this, but I see where your mindset and I see where you going. Yep. She gave me tips on how to start the course, like how you what you should go. Come on, now that's why I say the people you connected with can help you get where you're trying to go. And I tell people, your
Absolutely.
success, your success is connected to somebody else. You might can get there, but you're gonna need somebody else to get there, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. You can only go so far yourself. And that's why Henry Ford, as you mentioned, went so much further than the average person in his time. Why? Because he reached above and beyond and outside of himself. He hired people that had thinking processes and different mindsets, different abilities and talents than he did. And that was the power. It wasn't that he had to know everything or be able to do everything, but he knew who to call or where to get the answer to it. And I think that's the one thing so many people miss is they don't connect with other people. They see everybody as opposition or as an opponent or even as like a competitor, but yet they're not. If you don't see them as a competitor, but they're maybe as an aide or an assistant, a potential collaborator to help you reach higher, to do more impact and serve more and better, it's a completely different perspective. But it's all in how you think. Again, it's a decision that you make in your mind, who you are, who you're going to be, and how you're going to think and perceive things. It's all up to you. It's your decision. It's your mind.
I do agree, and I just want to touch on the Henry Ford story because I want to make sure I'm this direct the story. Like, I don't know, some people like, you know what we're gonna tell. They was basically trying to make it seem like he was slow, so they came in this office was like, so Mr. Henry Ford, and I'm knowing this story because it's in my conscience because I read it several times. He was like something like, Mr. Henry Ford, so what about this? So every time they asked him a question, he brought somebody else in and had somebody else answering the question. Then they was laughing. He was like, nah, I'm not slow or nothing. I just don't have time to put all that on my mindset. See, the mindset, you can overload your mindset. So he was basically saying, nah, I can be thinking of other ideas while I got thinking of answering these questions. So basically, he made, in my eyes, he made them look like a fool. And I'm going to leave it with
No, I agree with you 100%. There's no reason to tie up your own bandwidth or your own CPU, if you want to call it that, of your own mind with things that don't matter to you. The important piece is that you do what you're the best at and what matters the most to you. If you're not doing that, then in essence, you're bogging down or not reaching your full potential because you're literally doing things that aren't your best. And I think that that's where so many people, fail in life because they think they have to know it all or be the best in every little thing. I don't have to be a mechanic and a plumber and an electrician and a this and a that just to live and get by. No, I only have to do what I'm the best at, and I can hire or have other people around me who know those things. If somebody has an electrical question, I don't have to be an electrician. I don't have to be a mechanic to answer that question. I hook them up with my mechanic. They can answer that question. They can troubleshoot it for them much better and easier than I can. I don't have to be the one-stop shop solution for everybody and everything. I just have to be the best I can be in what God has called me to be. And that's the key.
I do agree. And you got to bring something to the table. Like, people want to attract my assets, but they got to be an asset themselves. See, a liability is somebody who basically causing problems or causing everything to fail because they already failed in their mind. But an asset is somebody who gonna help you level up, who got to bring something to the table, who already in the place you trying to go, or who already been to the place you trying to get to, and they already moved on to another place that you're gonna get to if you start thinking the right way. So I agree with the people you connected with. You got to make sure they together mentally first and foremost, because I don't just connect myself with anybody. My circle is smaller than a Cheerio, but the ones I'm connected with, like, I don't even say like we think we on the same frequency. But at times I have to like think outside many boxes because I like to help the people around me. I like to come up with ideas, like you said. You got a bunch of people around y'all that y'all brainstorm ideas. It's always gonna work, especially if y'all on the same frequency. So I love working on my mind because I know 2024. I know with the help of my ancestors, my spiritual journey, the journey I'm on. I know I'm finna connect with some major people, like just like you. Like, I connected with somebody on the OWL app that was mentored by Jim Rohns, and Jim Rohns one of the GOATs. So that just letting you know the level of thinking, how I shift my thinking from excuse my English, from bullshit to business.
Yep. No, I've been personally mentored by Jim Rohn myself, and I continue to go back through all the recordings of him that I have. Why? Because even though he's passed on, the truths and the principles that he taught and shared, with not just me, but millions, have changed millions of lives. And it's like the principles aren't going away, just like the law of sowing and reaping, or, the law of gravity, for example. Those are laws of the universe. They're not going away, but you can use them to your own benefit. You can learn how to align with the laws of the universe and the principles of life. And now it's going to empower you versus hold you back. If you're constantly fighting it, it's going to feel like it's holding you back, just like the law of gravity. If you're trying to go up, it's going to feel like the law of gravity is against you. But if you're trying to go down, the law of gravity is helping you out. It's all in what you're trying to do. So if you figure out ways to align with principles and people, like you said, that's huge. But learning how to serve and give and be the right person is so much more powerful than just trying to leech things off of other people all the time.
I do agree. And look, I want to say this because I live by this. Like, I tell the people I'm connected with, like, I refer to the OWL app. And by the way, me and Brian are both brand ambassadors on the OWL app. That's why I keep speaking on this, because y'all need to tap into the OWL app. But the people I'm connected to on the OWL app, I tell them, I don't want no front ends. I don't want no back ends. And I say this to them, and I be like, only thing y'all owe me is success. And if y'all don't give me success, like, I'm gonna whoop y'all with a belt. I said that to them. Because I tell you, it ain't about the money with me, because I don't chase it. I track that's gonna come. Let's continue to work on ourselves daily. Let's continue to work on our mind. Let's continue to create these ideas together. That's why we put our ideas together and came up with the Circles of King podcast, because we see the big picture. It's not just about trying to benefit or use each other. You should benefit off each other in the right way. But we not just around here using each other. We using our mindset. We living up in our mind and coming up with these amazing ideas. Like, and I don't think average no more. If I thought come in my mind, I'm gonna do it. Like, another example I want to share. I'm gonna say this: the power of the mind and meditate. Like yesterday, I don't really celebrate the holidays, so I just had like some alone time, some woosah time. So I'm just laying there. I was kind of watching some on TV, but I dozed off in a little meditative state. I felt myself dozing off. But it's like soon I dozed off. I don't know how long I was asleep, but an idea popped up. That's how I signed up for the Avine thing, and it was for free, the Avine rep. So I'm talking about, I went to the person on OWL app. I called her. I forgot her name. She ain't even answered. But some told me to click on her website. I clicked on her website. Soon I click down, because I was always, because my through my foster mom, my adopted mom, her sister always sold Mary Kay. So I was always wanted to tap into something like that, but I just want to do Mary Kay. But let me tell you the powerful mind. So soon the thought came, I popped up and I did everything my mind told me to do, step by step by step. And I got the results I wanted. And I signed up as a rep for free.
That's awesome.
It's just the thinking.
So there's a lot you've said there that's really powerful, and I think so many people miss the fact. But if you go back for a second to our conversation about mentoring and mentorship and people that we hang around, there's a saying that you become the average of the 5 people you hang around the most. And I believe there's a lot of truth to that, because we tend to adopt their mindset, their theology, their personality types, even to an extent. But I think that the way I've come to realize is, every person I'm around fits into 2 categories. One of these 2 is very important. Either they're mentoring me and I'm learning from them because there are things I can learn, or I am mentoring them on their mindset, their responses, etc. And so either way, I now try to look at, was I there to mentor them, or were they there to mentor me? Was it something I could learn from them? And I can learn from almost anybody. Even if I'm mentoring them, I learn from them. I learn from their mistakes, because I have learned that the most powerful thing is not to make all the mistakes myself, but to learn from other people and their mistakes. It's much easier, much quicker, much cheaper to learn from other people's mistakes than it is to make them all myself and learn from all of my own mistakes. And so learning from from other people and their mistakes is powerful. But on the other hand, I also need to realize that I'm either here as a student or I'm here as a teacher. Now, not everybody's going to want to learn from you, and that's fine. Not everybody's ready. But if you're there to teach and share, the people who are ready will step up and learn. The people who are not will probably come back when they are, because they'll remember that you gave and you taught and you shared and you were there to serve.
You know what? I say this all the time because I'm connected with some people who we go in place. And I say this all the time when people we connect with people. Like I connect with people who ain't get the bigger picture and they remove themselves away from me. But I say this all the time, and this is a quote I'm gonna put on a t-shirt. I live by this. You can either grow with me or you can remove the R and the W and you can go. And I won't feel bad about your decision of leaving the greatness because I'm telling you, where my life is headed, where I came from, where I'm going now, I see, because I started changing the way I think. I started using my situation I went through to help elevate me in life, to get around other people and share my story. Like, you can overcome this, but you got to overcome it in your mind first. But I say it all the time. If you ain't trying to grow, you can remove the R and the W and you can go. And it's simple as.
Absolutely. And I love the conversation we've had. Did you have any final thoughts or questions that you wanted to talk about before your segment is over here?
Oh, no, sir. I just want to just share with my the Seeking Knowledge listeners, how can they know more about you? How can they get your books? What platforms they can reach into you on? Say like they want to reach out and learn more about the course you creating. This anything you got going on, how can they reach out to Mr. Brian?
Well, that's awesome. And if you guys are interested in reaching out to me or checking out some of the things I've written or produced, you can go to nextstepmindset.com. Nextstepmindset.com. You can see my books and courses and different things there. You will also be able to find links to my masterminds and what's going on in that realm, if that interests you, because there's so much out there. It's easy to get lost in all the noise and all the hubbub with so many options. You know, if you put in mastermind on the internet, you're going to get millions of results. You don't know what's good and what's bad. You don't know who's legit and who isn't, or where you're going to get the most value. And so I can promise you that if you go to my website, you will find a lot of value. And if you don't, you know, I'll give you back money you spend. If you spend money and you don't find any value, I'll give your money back, because I can tell you right now, my goal is to serve and provide value for everybody that, you know, is ready and willing to learn. If you're willing to commit and you're willing to be disciplined to learn and grow, you will absolutely learn and grow. However, if you've chosen not to, then I'd rather give your money back and let you take it with you, because I don't want your money as much as I want you to succeed. So other than that, you know, they can also reach me on Owl. At this point, this is a cool thing too, DeMarcus. I made a decision early on when I joined the Owl app, you know, over 2 years ago, that I was going to be the #1 on Owl, and I currently am. I have more calls and more reviews than anyone else on the platform. Even the founder of the app is behind me now. So you think about that. If you set your mind to do something and you're disciplined and you're focused, you can do anything you put your mind to. He was hundreds and hundreds of calls and reviews ahead of me when I got started, but that didn't keep me from surpassing him. And you can do the same. It doesn't matter who you want to pass. It matters on how disciplined and how focused you are. You can do anything you set your mind to if you take enough discipline, enough time to learn and grow and become the person you need to be to do what you want to do.
And I like how you said that you got to take the time and grow, or remove the R and the W and go. But you got to take the time and grow and become the person you need to be, and you can do wonderful things in your mind. Mr. Brian, see, I don't say your last name because I don't know how to pronounce it, and I don't want to mess it up. So that's why I'm being respectful and saying Mr. Brian. I can't say your last name.
So my last name is Strubhar. It has an H in it, but the H is just a hitchhiker. So we just say it's Strubhar, kind of like rhubarb, but it's just Strubhar, and like straw and a bar, basically. So it's Stru and bar. But yeah, it's pretty simple. But I don't blame you. It's spelled weird because it's got that extra hitchhiker.
So Strubhar. But thank you so much, Mr. Brian Strubhar, for hanging out on Seeking Knowledge Podcast. This is Ashley, season 13. Episode 31, Brian puts up on me and he hung out with me and he dropped some gems. Why having a positive mindset will lead you to massive success. in 2024 and beyond. Well, I appreciate you hanging out with me, Mr. Brian. And any other gem you want to drop? Because I always say you're not a failure. If you fall, you're a failure when you fall and don't get back up. Anything else you want to leave with the Seeking Knowledge podcast listeners?
Well, they can definitely check out the book of Proverbs because that's in the book of life. And that book has so much wisdom and gold. And just like you said, you're not a failure unless you fail to get back up. And it says the righteous man falls 7 times, but he gets back up. Just because you keep falling, just like when you were learning to walk, you didn't decide to, be a snake and slither on the floor the rest of your life. You kept trying. You did what it took to learn how to walk. You might have to do what it takes to learn how to talk. So just think about even the best and most valuable public speakers. They didn't get paid $1 million the first time they opened their mouth and spoke. That, mama. No, they didn't. They didn't learn nothing much other than how to make sounds. And the more they spoke, the more they did things, just like the best NFL players. You can think of LeBron or any of the other famous players out there, whether football, basketball, or any sport, any musician. They did not make big money the first time they did it. They had thousands, if not millions, of practice runs. Practice runs don't pay you the big bucks, but they do if you keep doing enough practice runs to where you become the global authority or the number one. Now you suddenly get paid for all those practice runs. They now start making you money because you bank enough, just like putting pennies in the bank. If you put enough pennies in there, you can hit $1 million. But every penny is just a step in the process to get to the $1 million.
Make a lot of sense. That's beautiful. And y'all heard it from the Mr. Brian Strubhar. It starts in your mind. But until next time, Seeking Knowledge podcast. Peace.